thanks everybody for showing up here. I'm glad to see a turnout, man. I'm glad to see a nice turnout, where they're going to be bigger. A couple things. We run, this is Jay, Chris, we got Mike back there, we got Dave Conyers. We run a website called Minutemen of Indiana's Facebook page. I encourage you guys to like it. That way you just have first-hand knowledge of events in the future, because we're going to be having a lot of these throughout the summer. And we're going to find Second Amendment friendly, Bill of Rights friendly. I mean, this just ain't necessarily about Second Amendment, Bill of Rights. Without your freedom of speech, there's no sense in even having a gun. I mean, you can't talk, you can't carry a gun, you can't defend your religion, your life, your family. So, there's a lot in the Constitution that we're defending just by showing up here today, not necessarily Second Amendment. The Declaration of Independence, the founders were using that as a creed for the United States, not only a creed for the United States to live by, but as an example to set to the tyrants that they were pushing away. I don't want to say they were running away from them. They were where they wanted to be, and people were coming in wanting to take it from them. So they were setting an example, and the founders believed that these rights that we hold dear are of God, of God-sent rights that, and as long as they are rights from God, man cannot take those rights from us. Man-made right, he has the right to dictate how it takes place, what it is, when it's become too popular, it's time to leave. When the right comes from God, it comes from God. Men don't have the right to change it. So, before we get started, I'm just going to say a quick prayer, and we got a couple guys that want to say something. Again, I just want to say I'm glad you guys showed up, had the courage to come out here. We're going to be seen. We're going to be seen. So, I'm going to say a quick prayer, and we're going to thank you, Lord, for this day, God. Lord. We thank you for all that you do for us, God. We thank you for this country, Lord. We thank you for your love and the grace that you poured out through the founding fathers, Lord, that you saw fit for us, Lord, to have a place of freedom, to be a light of the world, to show other countries what freedom is, Lord. And Lord, we don't take that lightly, Lord. We thank you for our rights. We thank you for our freedoms and for the lives that people paid and laid down, Lord, to hold that freedom, Lord, to keep us free, Lord. And we thank you for that, Lord. We ask you to bless these people in this time together, God. Help us, Lord, to remember each and every day what you've done for us and in this country, Lord. And help us to be strong in defending what it is that you've given us, God. And we thank you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Some people are going to just have some things to say before we go. And you're more welcome to stay as long as you want. As much as you want. I'm sure the owner appreciates that. And the owner of this place is very, very Second Amendment friendly. We brought this to him. Congress brought this up to him. It was actually his idea for the longest. So we appreciate that and allowing this time.
Yes, Mr. Rojas.
And Mrs. Rojas.
And Mrs. Rojas. Thank you. I want to speak to that just real quick before you go. I was just in here Michelle, a couple weeks ago, probably, and with my family, and I asked Michelle, I said, present her with the idea of doing this, and I'll tell you something, guys. I didn't get well, let me get back with you on that. Let me discuss it with somebody's, attorneys or what. No, I mean, it was an instant. Heck yeah, come on in, bring your guns. We love it. We love the idea. So they never batted an eye. They're doing what's right and they're risking the consequences, and I appreciate you for that. We're going to do this again, and we're going to do it right here again if they'll have us back. We're not looking for anywhere else to go. Let's show the public what it means to be brave business owners, because a lot of restaurants would say, I don't know if we can do that, because they're always worried about this or that. But these guys did not bat an eye. So hats off to you guys for doing the right thing. We really appreciate you having us. Thanks.
Absolutely. Glad to have you.
Okay, let this be a lesson to all of you. I missed a meeting
with these guys, so they nominated me to talk. By the way, I hate doing. Yeah, ouch. Well, I laid out a copy of the Bill of Rights. I don't think they really teach that in public school. Maybe they cover it for a second. They kind of make it sound like everything that we have is a privilege given to us by man, but that is the furthest thing from the truth. So you all have a copy of it, or you should have. If you don't, I think everyone here has access to the internet. You got to make sure you get the right Bill of Rights. Somebody else might have wrote it for you. It'll be wrong. Okay, how many people believe here that the Bill of Rights gives you your rights to bear arms? Anybody believe that? Huh? You do? All the Bill of Rights is something that somebody wrote down that states what you already have, that you were born with. And we had some smart guys who decided they needed to write it down, and probably Patrick Henry was one of the ones that got this in writing because he was concerned about the Constitution. If you read the Constitution, it can be used for the wrong purposes, as it is today. I think a lot of us here can agree to that. You know, we say the Constitution, but probably the most important thing there is the Bill of Rights. This is the restrictions on the government, but we have to enforce them, right? That's why we have the Second Amendment, to enforce our rights. We hope to never have to use that. Is that correct? I mean, nobody wants to be slinging bullets. I don't think so. I don't. I prefer peace. How about you guys? Is that what we're here for? Yeah, we're here to send a message that this gun is not evil, right? Men are evil, and they can be evil, but this gun is not. This is to defend ourselves, right? From not only some robber out there, but some tyrannical government. And that's the truth. And you shouldn't be afraid to say that. And a lot of people are. And that's foolish. That's why it's there. It's not to hunt. Okay, that was a given that you could hunt. But I think nowadays we're taught that hunting is a privilege, right? Has anybody been to a hunter safety course? Wyatt, I know you have. And I'm kind of ashamed of myself now because I didn't stand up and say something. But the game warden said that hunting is a privilege, not a right. And he's wrong. He's wrong. You have the right to harvest from nature. And I'll tell you what, if you go out there and kill everything, you don't have anything to eat, well, I guess you'll starve. Right? So that'll be the reason. They'll say, hey, we don't want you to kill everything, you know, so we're going to regulate it. If you look at the first 10 amendments, or the Bill of Rights, there's a second, the fourth, the fifth, and the 10th, I say, are the most important. Right? The 10th. If you look at the 10th Amendment, a lot of people believe that's just states' rights. Is that what you guys believe? There's just a state, right? It's not a test. It's not a test. It's language. You got to read the language and understand it a little bit. It's not. It's reserved to the states or the people. You guys are people. Right? You have an individual right. If you look at the first 10 amendments or the Bill of Rights, it applies to the individual. And to think that the 10th somehow miraculously does not apply to the individual is absurd. Because it does. Alright? Like this man here, you know that he has an individual right to let us here with these firearms. Right? Or you could go over to BW3s, which I don't know if Kokomo's doing this, but I know BW3s doesn't allow you to have firearms. Are they doing that in Kokomo? Right? I'm not going there. But it's their right. Right? They own the establishment. They can do what they want. But I'm not going there. Right? I'm not going to go into an establishment and be trapped into a corner when some idiot comes in and try to shoot you. What's the odds of that happening? Well, nowadays, yeah, you're right. Nowadays, yeah. But in 1991, I was in Killeen, Texas. All right, going to Luby's Cafe, going to eat there. I drove up, and I was like, what is going on here? Half of Texas Police Department was there. there was a little like Ford Ranger in front of the building. Had no idea what happened, other than the restaurant was obviously closed. All right, what's the odds of me being there? Witness it. So, I'm not going to go in their restaurant unarmed. Period. Dot. Something to keep in mind, guys. It really is.
I got freaked out moving.
You did here? Yeah, I always carry there. There's no place that I don't carry.
Well,
Unless it says you
must
can't
have
carry
seen
here, then
mine.
I don't go in
You
there.
must have seen mine.
Oh, you had open carry?
Well, not really. I haven't.
Did he ask you if you had a firearm?
And he assured
Movie
me
theater.
he could carry, but
The movie theater has a sign on the door at the bottom.
at the very
Very
bottom.
bottom, you can barely see
At the
it.
very bottom.
Oh, it's posted there, huh? Okay, well, look, I've been in there multiple times, didn't know that. Guess what? I don't have to go there. I don't have to go there. It's not that important to me anyway. It's really not. I can wait till the DVD comes out, and guess what? I probably won't watch it anyway. Right? I've kind of gotten away from all that junk. Yeah, I can read a book, you know, or this is far more important to me nowadays than ever. Right? And I think probably what we should have been doing is this is way more important than all the other stuff we were doing, and we probably wouldn't be here today even being concerned about this. But it should be a concern, right? You can't be disarmed. Any law that they pass, this is just irritating itself. Okay, I've got a lifetime permit. How many people have a lifetime permit here? Okay, do you think it's lawful to fill out paperwork so you can carry a handgun?
No.
It's a right, and here we are. We go ask permission and then pay a tax. That's what we're doing. Because, and it's not because, you know, we believe we should have to do it. It's because there's so many out in the public now that believe that that's what we got to do. You know, so you feel like you're outnumbered. You got to comply with it, or you're gonna have somebody in a costume come and arrest you, right? That's what I call people wear costumes or uniforms. All right, so we're just all men. Every one of us, we're all man or woman, and we put on a costume, and somehow that gives us authority over somebody else. That's absurd. If it violates the Bill of Rights, it's unlawful. Every time we go buy a gun, gotta fill out this paperwork, do your background check. That's all great. You know, they say no criminal's gonna get a gun now. Has that happened? It doesn't happen. It doesn't stop anybody from getting a gun, right? And we had a conversation here earlier. I think I was talking to Dave. He said felons. Okay, what kind of felon? Right? I've got a family member who, at a very young age, got a DWI, didn't kill anyone or injure anyone. He's young, underage. A week later, gets arrested again. Same thing. That's what happened to him. They gave him a felony. Judge said felony. Okay, now he's 45 years old now. Got a family. He can't buy a firearm. It's absurd. If somebody creates or commits a crime, a violent crime, kills somebody with a weapon, it's a whole different story. I think we could label those people pretty easily, right? And if they get a firearm, and they live by the gun, and you know they're trying to shoot people, and all of us are armed, and I think eventually they're going to eat a bullet. They're not going to be a problem anymore. But instead, all of us compromise our rights because of the extremely low percentage of the population. It's absurd. Right? We're all worried about Washington, D.C. right now. I'm not. I gave up on those guys a long time ago. Right? With the big Tea Party thing, you know, hey, everybody come out. I went, drug my whole family, everyone. So I was on Capitol Hill. I know what the media said because I watched it. You know, I was like, this is crazy. They're making it sound like it's maybe 100,000 people. All right? I stood on Capitol Hill, and as far as I could see, all the way down, it was people. I'm telling you, there was a lot of people, shoulder to shoulder. But what the media tell you, it was nothing. It's a lie. All right, the people thought they were going to make it different. The fact of the matter is, D.C. is a complete loss. You've got what, maybe 3-5% at the most of people in there are trying to do something right, you know, right by their fellow man. And everybody else is there to get paid off of your labor. You can't control that. I can't control it. Who can? They can, but they're not going to. Right? What did Remington do? Remington just took an $80 million contract to stay in New York, $80 million government contract to stay in New York, comply with all their draconian laws on firearms.
80 million to do 5,000 sniper rifles.
There you go.
The math is $16,000 per rifle.
Yeah. See? You know, Remington. Sorry, Remington, I'm not buying Remington. I'm glad I don't own one. I actually don't own a Remington. Well, at least make a really good shotgun. To me, they're dead. Right? Remington's dead to me. They sold out. Right? They don't care. Yeah. You guys get tired of hearing me talk? Yeah. You can be honest. Yeah, I know. Him and I have got a thing. Okay, so the only thing we can really control is the local level, right? It's even difficult sometimes to control the state level, same kind of situation. But local stuff, you can start making a difference, and it's you. You're the only person you can control. Right here, you're making a statement today. You're changing minds today. And that's what we need to do. Right? And that's what we need to keep doing. One of the other things I would say is stop empowering other people over you. Stop empowering other people over you. I don't want to pick on the Tea Party, but I went there a few times, and what they do, I quit going because the leadership means well, and they're good folks. But every time you go, it's what law can I comply with this time? What hoop must I jump through to appease the system? That's what we've been doing, right? You have this. You have the Bill of Rights. You don't have to ask, can I go protest at the courthouse? Why are you asking permission for that? That's what they would do. I want to go to the county council or city council and ask if I can go protest here. Why are you doing that? Don't do those sorts of things. Stop calling the county commissioner and ask him to regulate windmills. Right? I'm opposed to them. I'm not going to call him. The only thing I would call him about is I don't want you to use my tax dollars to fund that company to get the windmills out there, nor use my police force to block traffic for them. If it's a private company, they can provide all that stuff for themselves. That's the only thing that they have the authority to do, not regulate private property, because then what you're doing is you're empowering them to go to Steve's house. He works third shift, so he's asleep. Go to Steve's house and say, hey, Steve, you can't put this up. It's none of their business. Unless Steve is devaluing his neighbor's property, then whose business is it? The neighbor. Right? That's what your courts are for. So stop empowering people that do not have power over you, unless you give it to them, which is what we do constantly. And the last thing is, when they pass this stuff, which they're going to pass whatever they want. If you think, go call your senator a million times. All right, he doesn't care about you. I stood in front of them in their offices. They look at you like you're trash. That's the truth. The only time they shake your hand and love you is when you're voting. That's the truth. It's just the truth. And it's sad. But what authority do we have out here? Well, first of all, like I said, don't empower other people. They do not have power over you unless you give it to them. The other thing is jury nullification. Stop saying, I don't want to go serve on the jury. You're killing all of us. It's extremely important. It really is. But we all go, oh man, I got jury duty. And unfortunately, I haven't got to go because I'm ready for it. Yeah. If somebody didn't get harmed, right? There's not real harm. It's not guilty. I don't care what the judge says because that's my right. And it's your right. Because somebody says, hey, you can't own a 30-round magazine, and Steve here has a 30-round magazine. We caught him with it. He's going to get 15 years in jail. Are you going to say, oh, well, I don't agree with it, but it's the law now. Right. Even though it's not, it's unlawful. Right. It is unlawful because it violates the Second Amendment. Are you then going to comply? That's what everybody does. I got to comply with this. It's the law now, even though I disagree. That's where jury nullification comes in. Don't turn it down. Don't figure out a way to get out of it. Start freeing your fellow man. Right? Stop imprisoning everyone. All right? Love your fellow man. That's, at the end of the day, you got to love your fellow man. And I even, I love Steve. He's hard to love. He really is. But you can't help it. I said my piece. That's it.
I just want to add one more thing. Something that's came to our family. Our kids do not go to public education. I know everybody has different opinions on public education and whatnot, but there's a simple fact that they are training your children. They are teaching your children. They are training your children.
I got to say something.
They are educating your children even in ways that you don't want them to be educated. I could send you to numerous different instances on the website, on the internet, where parents are finding their kids coming home with artwork or paperwork saying, defend my life by, and I can't remember the exact words, but the kid was pretty much claiming that he was unsafe because people had guns. And this was.
I agree, it's okay to give up some security, or give up rights of security.
Right, for security. Yeah, and if you don't think this isn't going on here in Kokomo, you are wrong.
Yeah, I have for instance, on that, my oldest daughter. My other two did not go to public school. Unfortunately, I was in public school, but you know what? I didn't know the Bill of Rights very well. So, Northwestern High School. My daughter, she sends me a text. Hey, should we be using the Michael Moore film to teach the Second Amendment? And I'm like, what? Wow. So, I waited till she got home and I thought, well, what happened here? She said, well, we read the Second Amendment at the very beginning of the class. And then we watched the episode of Oprah where they had went over Michael Moore's film, Bowling for Columbine. Okay? That's how they taught the Second Amendment. So they spent 40-some minutes on the Oprah show talking about Bowling for Columbine, teaching the Second Amendment. The next day, didn't cover the Second Amendment. That's what they taught. So I had to have a meeting with this teacher and the principal. Now, the principal claimed to be the most conservative man in the world. He said, I'm far more conservative than I'm guessing you even. And I don't even know what this can, I'm not even into the conservative liberal crap. It's all crap. It's only meant to divide everyone. That's all it is. All right? It truly is. So, nix all that. He defended this teacher. Well, no, he has the right to teach this. I said, I don't want my tax dollars to teach the different. Who's seen Bowling for Columbine? Anybody seen it? I didn't pay for it.
You should watch it.
You should watch it because here was the message at the end. The message at the end. This is truly absurd. This is the message. If you own a firearm, it's because you're a racist. It is.
Yeah.
Watch it. And it's crazy. And like, this is what you're paying on. You guys, if you're paying property tax, well, if you're here and you are in any home, you're paying property tax, whether you rent or buy it, you're paying property tax, which is 48% of the state's budget goes to education. I call it indoctrination. All right? Education's been gone a long time ago. Talk to some of the teachers, they'll tell you. We're paying for this. We're paying to teach our kids falsehoods. All right, and then when you go out there and raise a concern, well, they think you don't have any say. So what Josh is saying is absolutely correct, and that's why my kids don't go there. I will last long.
And if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but Bowling for Columbine also was a direct result of Kmart not selling guns anymore.
Yeah.
Okay? So it was a lot, it did a lot more than, we can sit back and we can laugh at these indoctrinatories.
Yeah, indoctrinatories.
That's a little much for me. I'll calm down on that. But they will. And my kids go to private education. They homeschool. My kids go to private. I have a trusted teacher who I know is teaching my kids what I'm teaching. You say, I don't have kids. You got grandkids. You got nieces, nephews. There are avenues for you to help your kids, if at all, at least teach them the opposite of what they're being taught in school. my daughter, our defining moment was when our daughter came home in first grade at Elwood Haynes and told us, I was out in the playground talking to a kid about God, and the teacher come out and told me, well, we can't talk about that here. You can't. You're on your own time on the playground, and you can't talk about God on the playground. That was the straw that broke Camel's back. And there's a few other things that had happened, with other kids. Other kids are very, very instrumental in the child's life. They're around other kids. They pay attention to those other kids and what their families are doing. We got to start paying attention to what our kids are doing. We got to. We have to, because we're not going to be the generation to change things. I know you guys are probably aware of this. Although we'll get things started, we can get balls rolling, we can do a lot of things. It's going to be our kids and our grandkids. They're going to be ultimately the ones that are going to do the change. And we're going to be the ones teaching them. So I just want you guys to pay attention to public education. There's a lot of things coming down that if you want to. We're sitting around a piece of paper right now. I encourage you to put your name and your email address on there. If you're not comfortable with that, don't do it. All we're going to use it for is for our Minutemen of Indiana web Facebook page, so that we can like you and find you and like you, and then you can get a better idea of what we're doing. Also, we're going to be doing, like I said, we're going to be doing this for other Second Amendment friendly places. Again, the owner of this place is outstanding. Him and his wife. What's their names again? Dave. So we got to start hanging out places like this. We bring our families to eat. We got to show how important this stuff is to us by spending our money in places that defend our rights. It's very important. We got to make sure that we start taking care of our local friends that live in the same area. And that goes with buying our weapons. You go get a cheap Mossberg pump action right over here at Walmart, but you ain't doing nothing for nobody by spending your money that way. We got businesses around here. Bullseye helped us out considerably. They didn't have to do that. Spend your money. If you're over in Galveston or whatever, spend your money down by the tracks. Let's keep this stuff local and start supporting the people that are supporting us. And thanks everybody for coming. I hope this was interesting for you and you want to keep coming back and hanging out with us.
And tell everybody, how good the food was here.
Yes. Yes. I had it the other day. I'm here ready to eat now. And before you guys go and say, you guys don't need to see what that looks like. Nightmares. Every night. Again, thank you. If anybody else has something to say, we're going to stick around for a little bit. You guys hang out, talk with us. If you got something important you want to say, stand up and say it. It's for here. All right. We have these freedoms. Hold them dear. We're going to use them. All right. Thanks for coming out.